She doesn't even go here!
I'm bi, actually.
Excuse me. Could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
Hi, I'm Kurt Homo, and I'll be auditioning for the role of kicker.
Hello! Welcome to Not So Straight Nerds. I am your host, Luke.
And I'm your other host, Alicia.
And tonight we have been born again.
Sure.
Yeah. It was the finale of
see.
Daredevil Born Again Season 1.
The finale happened.
So it did happen. So we've concluded what was one of my most anticipated shows of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we get to look at
However you feel about it, it's finally over. So
it is over. So we get to look at today's episode, what that kind of looks like going into the next season, which is currently filming, and then kind of looking back on the season as a whole and kind of talk about our overall thoughts about Daredevil's first official go at being in the MCU. He's been there here and there, but he's officially the main character, and we get to talk about how well we think that went for him. So before we get into that, vibe check. How you feeling?
It is late at night, so we were both a little tired.
We are filming this
at 11 p.m.
Yeah, it is very late on the night that Daredevil came out. So
it's okay, but we have to do it because we won't be available for the next several days. So it's gonna be a hot minute till you get a new episode, but it's okay.
Yeah,
we'll have some time to digest. And for those who haven't caught up, hopefully you are caught up by the time we make another video. So you'll have several days. So.
Yeah, for sure.
There you go. Yeah. Like we should just get right into it.
I completely agree. So we are going to go into our spoiler-free thoughts on, let's say, specifically this episode. So I think this episode starts really strong. And I think
it was very close to being good, actually.
Yes. And I mean, parts of it are really good.
I think at least half of it was.
I would say even like...
maybe a little more than half.
Like close to 3/4.
Yeah.
I just think then you get to the very end of the episode, and it really undercuts itself by what they think they're doing and what they're advertising is what they're doing.
Yeah.
But then they're not doing it. And so it ultimately makes everything feel like, cool, so this thing that you think you're building up to, you're actually still not there, and you're acting like you're there. And it's just, it makes the entire season feel, honestly, a little exhausting at this point for me, who was honestly just waiting for things to accumulate into something that wasn't clearly the case for this entire season.
Well said. I don't know what that last part was, but... overall, I was following that. I don't know. It's late, y'all, okay? We might not make sense. It's fine.
Well, what I'm saying is it feels like this entire season they've been acting like they've been building up to something, which has been glaringly obvious of what it is. And then they don't do anything interesting with it.
Well, they were so close to doing it. And then those last 15 minutes did not lead where they thought it was going to lead.
It reminds me a lot of, I think it was episode 3 or was it 4? The one where the white tiger gets killed at the very end.
3.
3.
Because that's his whole lawyer episode, and you're like, great, that was pretty solid. I wonder where they're going to go. Oh. Okay.
He's gone. We never got to see him do anything. And now, why did we use this character?
Cool. Why did we waste an entire episode's worth when this wasn't going to go anywhere?
Yeah.
Why did we waste a great character in what was almost a great episode to lead to this? But anyways, we already talked about that. But
it feels a lot like that. And honestly, it kind of feels that way for this whole season.
Yeah.
It feels like they were building up to something to be huge and exciting. And I think for the last couple of episodes, it definitely was exciting. Mm-hmm. And then it leaves on a note where I'm not super, like, where they leave off, I don't care. And, like, I
don't know what they're going to do with that.
I'm almost beaten down at this point. Because I'm like, you had so many seasons... or not seasons, but you had so many episodes to get to something that is Daredevil in the MCU. Mm-hmm. And then they just don't go there. And the entire thing just feels so, I think, segmented is a good word for it. I remember watching some of the earlier seasons of the Marvel Disney Plus shows. Roxy's going crazy over there with Alicia.
She's in a playful mood.
And it felt like some of them were so trapped inside of like one very tight section, and like you are given this thing and nothing else, and you can't escape this like this corner, and you are stuck there, and you can tell that the people making the show feel stuck there.
Yeah.
And it feels like they like slightly like dabble outside the box here, but it doesn't feel like...
It's interesting. I don't know. I also know. I kind of know what's being said again, but there's also, I don't know. But I don't know. It feels like it really suffered because of the overhaul, because neither person really got an entire season's worth to flesh out what they wanted to do, which one side was definitely not going to go great. The other was going to be better for sure. I still don't know if it was going to be great. I thought it was going to. The new people taking over and doing season 2, they did most, if not all, of the first episode, and then the 8th episode and this episode, 9th episode. So the first and the last 2. So, and I really liked the first one. I really liked the 8th one. This one was so close to being good. But then it's just like, why are you bringing back characters that you know people didn't care about? Well, I guess they didn't know.
They didn't know at that point.
But it's just, when you make so many smart decisions, it's weird when out of left field, it almost feels like White Lotus in a way, where you set up something so great and then you just like out of left field do something. It's for different reasons.
Yeah.
Like that was for shock factor, and it sure was shocking, but it was just poorly written. And then this one is just like, why are you using characters that are so boring? I mean, please feel free to prove me wrong and make them interesting, but that hasn't happened thus far, and so it doesn't make anyone excited. Like, everyone on social media right now, if you're on social media after the episode, is talking about the Defenders. That's where I thought they were going, and that was going to be great.
And they don't go there.
And then they don't. And so it's like everyone's excited, and I'm like, I don't know why you're excited. They're not doing Defenders. They didn't give you any reason. They started to.
If they pull any Defenders into the next season, it was not set up here.
No. Not at all.
No name drops, no even we need more than... Like, they have a set amount of people in the room, and it's not, we have room for more, or we need to make some more calls. They don't even do something like that. It's like, this is our team for what's going to happen. And it's
they show
not a fun team at all. If I never see every character in that room again...
Except
honestly,
for Karen. We love you, Karen.
Literally, was Karen even there?
Yes.
I guess, yeah, she was behind him.
Yeah, and then she walked, and she was in the front of the... Yeah. But everyone else, we don't even know the names of half the characters in that room. And then the 2 other people are kind of boring. So it's just, it's so wow. It's even, I don't know. I wish I could be celebrating with the people on the internet right now, excited for the Defenders, but that's not what was set up here. That's not what was teased here, unfortunately. So I wish I had that level of delusion, because that's what I wanted.
But then, like White Lotus, it's set up so well to bring in Defenders. And then they don't. Mm-hmm. And it almost feels like they thought they were going to be able to and didn't. And they, like, had to have this, like... It's like, oh, I'm going to have... There's a party at my place. And then you get there, and it's like, oh, so it turns out there was another party, so, like, my cousins came over. Mm-hmm. This is what it feels like. It's like, oh my gosh, none of the other Defender actors signed their contract. Who do we have? Mm-hmm. And but even the thing is, even within this show, there are better options for who to be on this team that they're assembling than who they have.
Yeah,
they have some of the worst characters.
Right. It was weird that, because they showed more people than who was in that room, but who was in that room was clearly, at least the way I interpreted it, their main team. And then everyone else was just kind of the other heroes sprinkled around, or the elements sprinkled around. So it's like, how do you not even have Matt's lawyer friend in that room?
It's crazy.
I understand not Heather, because the whole Heather situation is super messy right now. But like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
It's so weird. And it feels like so many characters didn't get any kind of, like, season this is where they are now. It feels like they bring a lot of people in at the last minute to be like, oh, remember these people were a part of the season? And it's like, yeah, we haven't seen them for episodes, and now they're just here. Did you not want to, like, do something with them?
Which,
especially
again,
in the case where so many of these characters did not need to be in here.
Mm-hmm. Well, and again, like, I understand that you didn't have control during the times that they were in the show, but I don't know, unless you have a really good vision for them, because that's just not what you were. When you tease when you tease Daredevil bringing a team together, you have to know people are going to think of Defenders, and if you don't, you're stupid. Like, you're a bad writer if you think you understand these characters enough and you don't even realize or care that people are going to think about Defenders. That's really dumb. That's totally on you. Yeah, but so if you couldn't get them, don't tease them. And if you can, why tease them but not tease it well at all?
Yeah. It's so bizarre. But the thing is, people are still really excited about this episode. Right now on IMDb, it is the highest rated episode so far of the entire season. Yeah. And I think that is
kind of crazy.
So wild.
Because we were both like, we could put 2 or 3 episodes above this easily.
Oh, I'm thinking it's towards the bottom of this season for me. I think I would put it like the 3rd from the bottom if I had to rank them.
Again, it sucks because it's like that first half was really good in the second, just like White Lotus.
It just completely undercuts itself. I felt the exact same way with the White Lotus, with the whole plot line of the White Tiger. It's like you're setting up something and we're anticipating something, and then you don't give it to us. And it's like, I feel upset, but not because you did good writing, because you were saying you were going to do something and then we never got to see it. Yeah.
You tease something so cool, and then you don't have anything cool to show for it. So, you literally could have name dropped. You could have like shown a symbol. You could have said we're gonna make a few extra calls to some old friends. Like, literally the smallest thing, especially if it was like a situation where you're like, we think we can get them, but we don't have them right now.
Just have like him answer a call, and it's like, we need your help, and it's like, it could be literally anyone. Yep. It's just so, I don't know what it is. I don't know why we're so out of the pack, and I feel like we've been out of the loop for most of the show. Some episodes we really love, and the internet is like, and then there's episodes where we're like, that feels really poorly done, and the internet is just eating it up, and I don't know what it is.
I wish I was. There's like a phrase where it's like, I wish I was eating what they're eating, or something like that. I wish I was having what they're having.
Yeah.
But
it's very fascinating watching this show in real time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder how this show does as a binge. I'm curious to see how people react if they are watching it like in that binge model instead of weekly. I think it's been an interesting weekly because truly each episode is just so its own thing in forms of quality. They're like, each week I remember just feeling like, man, this is either gonna make my day or ruin my night. Yeah. And it's crazy. I really hate that I feel that way about this show, and I wish I felt more optimistic going into season 2. Like, I think they have some awesome elements. I think they found some really creative things to do with this team that they have. The directors leading the charge into season 2. I hope that they learned some lessons from the feedback of season 1. Well, I just wish it felt like season 1 needed to happen. And I feel like there isn't anything in season 1 that I think needed to happen to warrant me watching this whole time. And I hate to say that about this show.
I don't know. I actually kind of, I mean, I wish I was more excited for season 2, but I will say I'm still more confident in it just because at least it has the same people working on it the whole time. So you know what? At the end of the day, hopefully at least it will connect and make more sense and have one clear vision rather than like, I mean, this season honestly felt a little all over the place to me. So at least there's that. It might be connected and bad, but at least it's connected. So that'll be very interested to see if it's any better. If it feels connected, it's sure better. It sure better feel connected because
then they won't have an excuse.
Nope. They really gotta. I will say we've already seen some set photos, and so we know Frank Castle's coming back. We know Karen's coming back. We know Daredevil's getting the black suit.
Yeah.
Very excited for the black suit, and not really much else. I don't think that I can think of off the top of my head.
No, I wonder if they were waiting on anything specific. Like, you know what? Maybe they were waiting for this finale to drop so they could be like scouring and being like, so who are they most excited to see that we didn't show? Who's raging right now? And then that's who we need to call.
Yeah. You better get the. It's like after the Doomsday announcement. It's like, oh, you better get Halle Bailey or Barry. You better get Halle Berry.
We need the Little Mermaid in here.
No, honestly, yeah, bring her in. No,
Ariel, we need you to distract Doom.
But I don't know, man. Well, that's a whole nother thing. I was gonna say, like, Marvel, they're not doing anything with Scarlet Witch, so I don't really have faith that they're gonna bring anybody they need to bring in. But that's a whole nother conversation.
So, okay, steering away from the very end, there are some things that this episode did really well. Mm-hmm. And mind you, we are still in the non-spoiler section. Okay. So, one of the big things, which maybe it's a spoiler, if you look at the episode title, you see him right there. Mm-hmm. We have Punisher return in a very sizable role here. Mm-hmm. And it feels... and they have an action sequence with him. They have multiple action sequences with him, and it's so great. Him and Daredevil fight at the same time, and it is awesome. It feels
the banter's
like we're
great.
Coming home.
Mm-hmm. I really like the element that Matt is now aware of Karen and Frank's whatever dynamic. I loved that.
The relationship being around Daredevil is new, and it is very exciting to see that converge.
Yes. And there's still clearly something between Karen and Matt as well.
Yeah,
and
I think that adds a very interesting dynamic.
I love it. I love it.
A little wrench in there.
That's one of the things I'm excited to continue into season 2.
And I will say...
There's elements that are great, for sure. But the whole team element, ooh, you better make those characters interesting or throw them away. Do something else.
Yeah.
Do you have time to do that? I don't know, man.
They all died off screen. Oh my gosh.
That is the one bad thing about filming at the same time is
season 2 starts and the bar explodes.
No, but my biggest complaint about that is how are you going to tease a team of vigilantes to go up against an anti-vigilante force and you don't have a single vigilante there other than Daredevil? Not a single one. It's crazy. You tease...
You introduce vigilantes throughout this season.
Yeah.
You have the White Tiger. He dies. Whatever. Some people apparently thought that was done well. And then you have someone who's there to take up the mantle, and she doesn't. You have...
She's teased, but she never did anything, so
You have freaking Jack, the Sword Master, and I thought it would be so funny if he was there. Mm-hmm. And it's just...
Oh, sorry. I guess I spoiled something.
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry.
You've been on a little bit of a kick.
I'm sorry.
but whatever. I'm trying to course correct. Once again, I do apologize. We are quite tired. And this is very fresh. So we haven't unpacked a lot of these feelings.
We haven't even really made an outline, which is very new for us. It's like the first episode we don't have an outline.
I wonder if they could tell.
Yes, they can. I can guarantee you. They're probably like, oh my God, this is the worst episode yet.
Punisher, I think he does really great. I think it's going to be exciting to see him again whenever he pops up again.
Yes.
I think he's supposed to be getting a special, I think even just next year. Mm-hmm. So I'm very excited and I'm very hopeful for what that looks like. And I hope they use that as a means to expand this street level corner. I think this show...
Even if you weren't going to do the Defenders, why did it? Do Frank! Have Frank there. Have somebody there. Have Angela. Have literally any vigilante there.
It's crazy. But also I think with this finale, it feels weird how Frank is such a big part of it. But he's not been here. Except for
not been here.
One scene this entire season.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy that he feels so... like they spend so much time on him and it's like, cool. You remember that there's like 30 characters that you introduced in this season... and you're going to throw them here in the last, 10 minutes. and be like, well, I guess we all are going through some stuff. And it's like, I forgot some of these people were even in this show.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Frank, but, like, come on. Put him throughout your show. It's...
I don't know. It's just pretty bad all around.
It's
It leaves a very messy ending. And it's weird seeing everyone excited because they're excited for something that didn't happen this episode. They're excited for the Defenders, and that's not what happened. I don't understand. Why are we not? They're excited because they've created a false reality of Daredevil Born Again in their head of what it should have been and what it could have been. And I love that for them. I wish I could. Again, I wish I was living in that world.
Gaslight me into believing what you believe.
Please, and that's so genuine. I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm like, please, actually help me get there because I can't keep living like this. I can't. First world problems.
I'm trying to think what else was really good.
Really liked Frank. Really loved.
Fisk, I think, had a very big climax of this whole season.
Yeah.
I think it puts him in a really strong position going forward. I think I would love to see this, where he ends, bleed into other projects.
Yeah.
I don't know what opportunities we have until season 2 comes out, but I would just...
I know Ironheart's coming out.
Oh, but I would be very surprised if that is
very far away, right? Where is she going to be set, actually?
Is she in Chicago? Maybe?
She's going, because she was going to school, I feel like. But I forgot.
Wherever MIT.
Wait, you know who else is going to MIT? Spider-Man's friends.
Oh, yeah. Ned and MJ.
What if they just... in the background?
You really think they're going to get Zendaya for a Disney Plus show?
Yes.
Dang. That'd be something. That would be something.
I think they could do it.
Guys, I fear my co-host is off the rails tonight.
Losing it. Anyways.
But it's okay. We're gonna get through this.
It's okay. They'll just have a Zendaya lookalike. Just be like, because she has that big old like side part. They'll just have block her face.
Well said. Give me Zendaya, but not Zendaya.
We don't need to see her face. We just need to see like the
Zendaya-ish.
Yeah.
Lord.
Okay. Anyways, let's move on.
What else? I think those are the highest points for me. The action was great.
And then the
Kingpin's doing stuff.
brutal scene, which we'll talk about later. There's a brutal death.
There's a very brutal scene, and that's
big spoilery though.
It does give a lot of the vibes of the original show.
I mean, it's like, I feel like that's the most brutal. It rivals the car beheading scene.
That one is still super iconic to me.
Yeah. I was saying, like, I was literally gasping. I was like, this is giving Invincible. That's what I said. It really is. But that's how brutal it was. But I loved it. It was great.
Anything else we want to cover before we get spoilery with it?
Maybe getting to see Matt say Karen instead of Heather when he woke up.
Oh, well, some would argue that's a spoiler.
Really?
Well, it did happen in the episode.
I guess.
Goof.
Well, we've talked about
Heather.
Spoilers
We can talk a little bit about Heather.
Yeah.
Man.
But not in a good way, though.
Another character that they introduced, but they spent time with this character. But other than times when the actress, I think, is clearly carrying the performance like a boulder on her back.
She's doing good. Yeah. She's doing fine.
It is just so poorly written for her. And she's such an unlikable character by the end of this episode. And especially in a time when so many female characters, especially in the superhero genre, especially the superhero girlfriends, they get so much hate for trying to portray nuanced emotion and performances against these super big characters, and then they're in a relationship with that and all of the nuances there. It's really
hard
annoying to see them just so unapologetically make such a horrible character. And it's like, cool, so this is the kind of person that Daredevil or that Matt is interested in. Like, there were no red flags that this was the kind of person before this.
Yeah.
You'd figure that someone who can literally read her heartbeat and know when she's
Right.
lying or not would be able to be a decent judge of character. Like,
Yeah.
she's almost unapologetically a horrible girlfriend to him in this episode specifically.
In this episode. I don't know. I know their relationship was pretty in shambles before he got shot, so like I understand, but she just like gives up. I guess. I thought, well, I guess we can't talk. There's something where I thought she was gonna, maybe turn it around a little bit when Matt was like, "We have to form a team." I was like, "Oh, so maybe Heather's coming around." Nope. I guess not. I don't know. That's not the impression I got.
But it's another thing where did Heather being in the show add a ton to this show?
No.
No, but it took so much of this show.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if it added much at all.
It added that she was a victim to Muse, which added to something that he was going to be there anyways. Mm-hmm. So, whatever. I don't know.
Just
If they bring this poor actress back, I really hope they completely rehaul that character into something completely different because
I don't know. I fear that they're gonna break up pretty soon, and she's gonna be like full on.
They just need to completely they need to get into the dirt and build a character and a reason, a good reason for the things that she's doing.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, it is just not there, considering she's supposedly a professional.
I just thought maybe a cool idea is they could try to do that while also building something else that was not built at all this season. They could do like some flashbacks with her actually being a therapist to Fisk and Vanessa, because we wanted to see that. We deserved to see that this season for her benefit and their benefit, because we didn't get to see any of that progress whatsoever. So maybe that's a way to build her character, get to know her a little bit more, and show what we deserved to see this season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's an interest. I feel like it's an interesting idea.
If they keep her, they have to find something to make her at least either interesting or not completely aggravating on screen. Because I could never see her again and live such a happier life for it. And I hate to say that for a character that isn't a villain.
Right. It's just she's not written well. I don't know. And she deserves to be written well because the actress is doing great. She's doing the best with what she's given. So.
Yeah, and
she's doing better than some other poorly written characters this season. So.
Yeah. So
looking at that one guy.
Let's go ahead and go into our spoiler talk. So if you are still interested in watching the episode, I guess if you made it this far, go for it.
Definitely finish.
There's some
there is a
very
post-credit
enjoyable
scene.
parts for it. And there's an end credit scene.
Yes.
Which we didn't know going into it.
Yeah.
So with that being said, spoiler talk.
What should we talk about? Should we talk about the death?
Sure, that's a great place to start. So very comparable to Kingpin's iconic door slamming scene. We have the police commissioner getting his head completely crushed in by Kingpin with his own hands.
You see it,
and that, I guess, is what makes it the most brutal.
Yep.
But it's
I feel bad for him. He was a great guy. And
yeah.
As far as we saw.
Well,
I mean, he wanted the police to actually be somewhat just instead of whatever they've turned into now.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I feel like we're missing so much of what a normal police officer's life looks like now. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's supposed to be very purposeful that we're only seeing the police that work for Fisk on his task force.
Because they're
the antagonists, but it feels so...
He basically told his... the one lady that works for him to get rid of anybody not in support of him. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if, like, on a big level, he did that. So maybe they're just fired.
Oh, I would assume so. Well, but you can't fire the entire...
No,
And it just
he's
feels
got to do
like
something.
there's
Maybe he'll make
so-
them useless.
Like,
and just
it
make
just
the
feels
task
crazy
force.
how many people are, like, because we saw him initially hire the task force.
Yeah.
And respectfully, throughout this episode, we see at least, like, triple that die.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, where are all of these people coming from?
Yeah.
And also, like, is he paying all of these? Like,
Right. And he's done that before. He's done stuff like that before, but then we get to see that. We get to see elements of that. And we haven't seen it here.
I don't know. At least I think it was done a bit more tastefully, I think, in the Daredevil show. So it felt more like obviously there's a bigger talk about, like, the corruption in the police, like, sphere. But it feels so crazy to have not a single redeem. Like, in the show, you had... I forget his name, but he's that officer that was, like, working with Foggy, and then he was always the one there.
You had a lot of resistance to that. And a lot of people who were good people, they were just manipulated and blackmailed, and so
But
this is not what it's doing at all.
You don't see a single good on-the-street police officer.
No.
It feels very...
I want to see the story of why they idolize Punisher so much. Why is it all of them? Maybe a couple of them. I mean, I understand that it's probably the violence part, but like I don't know. It feels like a movement, and I want to know why that movement started.
And has it been so quiet thus far if it's literally so many of them?
Because there's this scene where it's a really great shot, powerful shot, but it's like, I don't even know, 15, 20 of them that have the Punisher logo on them, which it's a bad logo. It's not really the logo, but they're trying. It's a skull. It's a very powerful shot, but it's like, okay, how did we get here? Again, it's like, how did we just triple our numbers? What's happening here? I don't know. And, again, it's like maybe Kingpin is killing or one way or another getting rid of all the good officers. I don't know, but we haven't really seen that other than Gallo.
And that's the thing. There's so much more, like, with how big New York is, there's still someone who has to be, like, writing tickets right now.
Right.
Like, is the ticket person just going to be like, oh my gosh.
A gun, pew pew, kill you if you park in the wrong spot? Because maybe that's what they did
I don't know.
This guy was stealing something during the blackout and he got shot. And then one of them was like, they had that was like the tiniest of glimpses where one of them was like, he's just a kid, and the other one's like, he's no kid.
At the very end, you see a couple of officers in there, and I guess they're supposed to be the good ones, but you don't ever see them act like the good ones.
No.
When it matters.
Right. There's no like build for them. I don't know. It's weird.
It's another one of those things where I think you can distract yourself from some of the cool things of this episode, but for me, it doesn't mask the fact that I think it's really poorly done and poorly handled.
Well, and yeah, that's all I really had to say about that. To be honest. I have another thing to bring up though.
Go, bring it up. I love it.
My other thing I wanted to bring up was why the heck would Kingpin be so stupid as to send Buck and only Buck after Daredevil?
Yes.
I don't care that he has a bullet in his shoulder. If he's not in a coma, you can't kill Daredevil with one person.
Yeah.
Even like sending the police to his house, I'm like, no. He's Daredevil. You know that better than most people. And at least the police, like they didn't, or the task force, I guess, didn't know what they were getting into. But Kingpin did.
Yeah.
I'm like, so do you like your task force or not? Because it seems like you sent them on a suicide mission because that's what happened.
Yeah, for sure.
So, because, I guess it's because Frank Castle was there. Daredevil wouldn't have killed them, but.
Yeah. It's, that another thing where it's like.
What do you mean?
You're supposed to know Daredevil basically the same amount that he knows himself.
Yeah.
And you really thought that was going to work?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I don't know.
And then also Bullseye's gone this entire episode until the very end. And it's like, I would have...
The opening was nice.
Yeah, I love that shot of his eye through the sniper. Mm-hmm. And then the scene of him apparently being released from, I guess it was more of a insane...
Mental facility.
Yeah, that's a better word for it. with Vanessa so that he could go kill Foggy to cover up the fact that the Red Hook, where they're trying to build basically I think it's Red Hook Port.
Yeah, it's
So it looks like presumably that's where they're going to build Fisk Tower, which is the big tower where a lot of stuff happens, and every other medium where Kingpin's there.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they make it look nice. Hopefully it's a fun place to be, because I think it'll be more fun than the mayor's office is.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how that conceptualizes and gets what the design for that looks like.
They're building it there because that port is, I forgot what they said, but
a free port.
A free port, which means you basically, long story short, you can do illegal stuff there and it's basically legal. Like you're not under
it's
the
outside
jurisdiction.
the law of New York and just the U.S.
Yep, the entire country and New York. So you can basically do whatever you want, which is why she was doing all her crime there. Foggy was killed because he found that out. He found out that his client was doing crime there, probably for Vanessa, but Foggy didn't know that specifically, probably. But he found out that his client was did some crime there, but it's a free port, so he wasn't going to be convicted.
Yeah.
So he was gonna motion for a dismissal or whatever, something like that. Sorry, file for I don't know legal terms. I'm so sorry for the lawyers.
Yeah, but I think that whole
so she killed
plot
him.
and that reveal, that feels so the original.
Oh
Daredevil.
yeah, that was great.
Another great thing where it's like you were on such a roll.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, like the first half at least, if not 3/4 of this episode, were great, but those last 15-20 minutes just completely fell apart.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have been... There's still a couple problems with this episode. But if they had even slightly teased a defender, there'd be so much less to say. Because then they're actually doing something here.
Yeah.
So... Because it's fine if you, but for some reason, believe in the boring characters and have a vision for them, fine.
But know that that's not going to...
That's not enough.
You had such a great opportunity to have almost a No Way Home type scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand if you didn't have every contract signed.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been so awesome if you did to have even just one of them sitting in the bar when they come in and having that
just
be a huge
Jessica
reveal.
Jones.
Honestly, that would have been one of the most memorable moments in television this year so far.
Mm-hmm.
I
agree.
That would have been cemented in people's minds of where they were when they saw that.
Mm-hmm.
And you just didn't. And what really ticked me off is there was that detective lady from the bank episode.
Yeah.
Was sitting at the bar, hair going down, and she was drinking a whiskey. And as a silhouette that you vaguely see when you walk in, it looks like Jessica Jones. They
filmed it in a way that at first, until you get closer, hides who they are.
Mm-hmm.
You can't... It's so close for me being like, that's intentional. They're intentionally pissing me off.
And then they show them up close, and it's like, oh, I'm not excited to see any of you again.
No, you can't show them far away to, create excitement and mystery and then not have someone in, they're not interesting at all. You have to have someone interesting there if you're going to have a mystery.
I think
it can't be like, this is a mystery. Oh, and it's the most boring character of the entire show.
I think it's just so interesting that ultimately the things that work best for this show is almost nothing that they added.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of the original stuff,
Sucks.
all of the original actors and characters from the original show, and they hint at them having anything to do with other Marvel characters that we've seen in some of the other Disney Plus stuff, but they never do anything with that. And then even the new characters ultimately don't do anything that wouldn't have happened if they weren't there. It's just so mind-boggling.
This could have been a cool opportunity to... I think it's smart to try to capture the magic that was the first 3 seasons and treat this like a 4th season, which is what they were saying they were going to do. But you have to capture it, and now you're in the MCU, use that in one way or another.
My thing is...
Which they mention Spider-Man or whatever, but that's just not enough. I'm sorry. sorry, it's not.
Yeah,
You gotta have a character in there or like literally something. Ugh. I will say there were elements like I liked his tools. So like,
Oh, the billy clubs.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. I like the added like acrobatic combat. I like that. I like the multiple suits. I'm excited for the. I liked the ketchup and mustard one. I'm glad it was just in She-Hulk, but I liked it in that one. I thought it was fun and appropriate for that show.
Yeah.
And then I like that we're gonna get a black one. You know, they're like little elements, but you gotta use a character in there. That's what the MCU is a big catalog of characters. Throw it in there. You're. I mean,
The
they
fact
did
that
like
they couldn't
Jack,
even
I
get
guess.
Echo back.
No,
Like,
I know. That's what I'm saying. Echo, Kate Bishop. Like, it doesn't have to be Spider-Man because I understand.
Okay,
Spider-Man's
I want to
complicated,
talk
but-
about who
Ugh.
we think could have been in Daredevil's army. I think we have to think about who's already on a team
Right.
and think about kind of where everyone else is on their own journey that we've seen them or left them at.
Yeah.
I think
Absolutely Echo.
Echo, I think, is the most likely. She's already very anti-Kingpin. She literally fought him. How she would know to come back to New York would be a question. I think there isn't maybe any necessarily way that Daredevil wouldn't know how to get in touch with her. So I can understand her not being there. It would have been exciting to just explain it later.
Yeah.
Other options, I think Misty Knight is a big one because Matt has her number. I think that would have been a lovely choice. I think
I still think I know Kate Bishop's doing stuff, but I still think hers would still make sense because now her stepdad's involved.
yeah, I mean,
You know,
that's another thing
I
where
feel like that's one of those. Okay, I'll
that's
drop
gonna be
whatever I'm
something
doing to
crazy
help him.
if they
you know.
never address that going
Yeah.
forward, where it's like, Kate.
Unless, okay, I guess. Well, we're in the spoiler territory. The post-credit scene is Punisher escaping. So unless he just lets him out, and the stepdad was in prison for like 5 minutes, I guess then maybe Kate Bishop doesn't need to come home. But if it's prolonged whatsoever, it's gonna
And
get
then
into
that's another
territory
thing.
of not making sense.
If he was there, that would have also been a very fun choice. And then he could have been Swordman, and they could have actually maybe done something with him in another season.
Yeah.
Among other vigilantes. White Tiger, I think there's no reason she shouldn't have been there. Or at least in her shot on the street, show that
Wearing
she
the
decided to wear the amulet
amulet.
and have it glow. Have it do something. Have her character do something. It's, ugh. And then, other good ones, I think... People are talking about Moon Knight. I think it would be very drastic to see him suddenly in New York.
It's weird because like he's not doing anything, but why would he care and why would he be there? That's the big things. Like I think it would have been really weird to see him in that room. Now if they bring him in and they can find a way to make it make sense, sure. But I do think he wouldn't have worked here in the post credit.
And then the easiest one, Jessica Jones. They've talked about getting Jessica Jones here. There was so many talks about Kevin Feige wanting her in the show.
Yeah.
I feel like even with that whole shot, when you walk in, it feels like she was meant to be there.
Yeah.
And then they were holding off until the last minute, and she just couldn't come. I think if you are going to have this be a thing, there's no way she's not there. She's too great. And then her and Daredevil's dynamic is just also hilarious.
I don't know. I just think it's just at the end of the day, there's no way you can tease a team of vigilantes fighting back and only have Daredevil as a vigilante. No one else there is a vigilante. Heck, even have Claire as like a little connection to the Defenders. That's what I was saying. Bring back Claire. I loved seeing Karen, but the second I saw her working on the wounds, I was like, give me Claire. Give me Claire. Love you, Karen.
Tap out.
This is not you. Get out. Let's bring Claire in.
It was interesting to see, because I recently finished the last season of all of the Defender saga, and they kind of stopped bringing in Claire at a certain point. I think with Iron Fist season 2 is where they stop, and then that's followed, I think, by Punisher season 2. And I don't think she's actually in either season of Punisher.
I'm not surprised, though.
It's, I don't know. I think Claire was a very fun character, but I think I heard that the actress who plays Colleen, who ends as the Iron Fist, isn't interested in coming back. Okay. So maybe recast, possibly.
Because I was gonna say she would have been cool too, like as a little connection, but.
I still am on the side of I would like to see someone else get cast as Iron Fist. Maybe even if they want to let... Yeah. Maybe the smartest way to go is if they let Danny Rand kind of go off and do his own thing, and there's a new Iron Fist. In the comics right now, there's a new Iron Fist. Let there be a new Iron Fist. And I think all will be well.
Sorry to that actor.
He can have his performance. Danny Rand can still be canon. And the people who want a new Iron Fist can get their new Iron Fist while acknowledging that was canon. Yeah. I think that's probably the best option. I think that actually is really smart. I'd be interested to see if they do that potentially in the second Shang-Chi movie, which is supposed to have a team of Asian heroes helping him, I guess, supposedly time travel. It's been a while, and that's the last I heard about it.
Interesting.
But I think Agents of Atlas is what it's called. Oh. And I believe Luna Snow is also on that too. Yeah. So, but... fun. Who's some other character? Oh, Luke Cage. I was talking in the episode about Luke Cage because at the end of his last season, he is, as we last saw him, a crime boss of Harlem. So
I'm gonna be so real. I know Mahershala Ali is busy doing maybe Blade, but I low-key for a second thought he was the one in the car. I don't know why that would not have made sense. But I don't know, man. I was like, is him? Because at that point, that was when I started thinking, like, maybe a defender. And I was like, is that Mahershala Ali? And then I was like, that doesn't make sense. And then I saw his face, and I was like, and the skull, and I was like, never mind. I'm going to leave now. I don't know. That would have been really weird, though, because of Blade, and that just wouldn't make sense anyways. So. Yeah. Does he die in that show? I forgot.
Yes, he's dead.
Okay, so he's dead anyway.
He dies mid-first season.
So that's also a really good reason that wouldn't have made sense. Shows how much I pay attention to things. But
I will say, I think that does lead going into season 2. I think if you have a trailer showing him potentially looking for vigilantes to join the fight, I think you have a great pitch. I
should have done that in the finale,
I think that should have been this season of... maybe finding the vigilantes, defending them whenever it is a controversial take, and then uniting them all when it's illegal to do that. Like, I feel like, how is that not your setup? Right.
Again, like White Lotus, you are literally putting the chips here. Why can't you piece them together?
Like, and it could have been such an interesting thing with Matt and Daredevil having their own connections with all of these characters, and that could have been the highlight of this show that differs from when we see these characters in other places. And I don't know, I think this show tries sometimes to be the original show, sometimes it tries to be Daredevil in the MCU, and I think sometimes it succeeds at both, but overall, like, as a season, I think it just feels so disjointed.
Honestly, what is it? Don't fix what ain't broke. Just do original Daredevil and then add the MCU juice of, like, budget and combat and, like, here's a character every now and then. That's all you need.
And at its best moments, it has glimmers of that for sure. But I don't know. Hopefully they learn some lessons. Yeah. And as season 2 is still being filmed,
and at the end of the day, most people really liked this show, so...
yeah, speaking on that, what's our time right now?
We're only at 50 minutes.
Crazy. Time feels like it doesn't exist to us right now.
My eyelids are so heavy right now, it's wild.
So...
if I look bored, I'm not bored, I am tired.
So, oh my gosh. What do you think, because there's a Rotten Tomatoes score for this.
Oh, really? I don't even know. Oh, I know it. Oh, I did see that today. The critics, it went up to 88 because it's fresh.
And what do you think the audience score is?
I feel like a good 90.
Close. It's 80. Well, no, you're not close. It's 80.
It's actually 20. Like, you're actually really close. It's 20.
No, but I will say, I think that continues to be surprisingly high.
Yeah. I will say that's lower than I thought it would be based off the feedback I've seen.
I
But
don't know. I think a lot of people kind of just aren't watching it as well.
yeah.
So I think anyone who maybe thought they could watch it probably just stopped.
Yeah.
Like, because it's...
What would you rate this, like, out of 100? Like,
Out
if
of
you had to do a percentage. You could do out of 10,
well,
too.
because
that's
I do
really
my
the
rankings
same.
out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately...
What is it overall?
So for the whole season, I did the math of how I kind of score each episode and kind of assemble it to have some kind of semblance of how I felt throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that number for me was... I think it rounds up to a 7.5.
Okay.
I was looking at that and I was like, that is not a 7.5. This cohesively is not a 7.5 season. So I dropped
was
that
about
down
to say.
to a 7, and then I was like,
Okay. I would
so
say
7
like,
is the level where I would recommend most people to check this out. And I was like, I don't think it's that either. I think it is a solid notch below that, because I think if you're into Daredevil, watch it, see what's happening, see what can happen to this beloved character and his iconic villain. If you've never seen this character again before, watch that season, watch the original show, and then maybe watch this right before season 2.
Right.
Because
yeah.
this is not where I would want to have anyone who's meeting this character for the first time see the character and like be left with the character.
No.
It's
I would rate it like a solid 6.5 out of 10.
Where I'm at. So it's just like a notch below recommendable.
Yeah.
It's
I agree
and I
with
hate
that.
to see it. I love Daredevil.
Because
I
it
love
has
the
some strong
original
points,
show.
but it's not cohesive. It's got some pretty big weak points too.
Yeah.
So
what do you think? I know we talked a little bit, but what are some other stuff you'd like to see in a season 2 of this show?
I mean, like I said earlier, I just want to see a cohesive vision, and whether that's going to be good or bad, I do have hope that we're going to see that, because it's the same people working on the whole season, and I hope that they can find their footing a little bit more in a season 2, hopefully. I definitely want to see more Karen, more Punisher, more Poindexter. I am wondering, I guess Fisk is going to be... I wonder if they're going to bring in a secondary villain.
I honestly
Or if it's
think
just
they
going to be
need
Fisk.
to.
Yeah, I think
Fisk
they need
has
to
always
too.
been a villain in all 3 seasons, but you've had other stuff going on.
Yes, and I think... But I just don't know who that's going to be.
Even the marketing, because in hearing about what this show was supposed to be, it sounded like that was supposed to be what Muse was. And then it just was not. He ultimately, like most things in the show, amounted to nothing. He was just there, he did a thing, and then the next thing happens.
Yeah. That really sucks.
And so...
He would have been great.
I'm trying to think if there's any clear...
Yeah, because I don't know the comics, so I'm like drawing a blank. I have literally no idea.
I know they touched on Typhoid Mary. She's a character briefly in the a little, not minor. She's not given what she's supposed to be in the second season of Iron Fist.
Okay.
So that I think would be a really fun character for them to readapt. And I even think the actress is great. They just had it because Typhoid Mary is almost like a mutant firebending Harley Quinn character, and also love interest to Matt.
Okay.
So
another he has to get a new one every season.
And she
so
has
who's it gonna
a
be?
split personality as well.
Ooh,
So
that would be interesting.
What is it? It's DID, just like Moon Knight. So I think she would be fun if they brought her back in a more accurate fashion, or at least in a more fun fashion. She was a very serious character in the Iron Fist show. That was interesting, but it's not Typhoid Mary. I would try and get that something more comic accurate. I would say any other villains I can think of.
If you can't think of anything, I think that's good.
I think there's a Lady Deathstroke, or not Deathstroke, Lady Bullseye.
Okay.
Maybe something there. I've seen people
I guess
talk
they
about...
could bring Poindexter back, I guess, but they'd have to
for
give him
sure.
something to do in a.
He needs a suit.
Yeah.
He needs a suit.
And they'd have to give him something to do in a villain role.
And then also, just in the vein of this street level and coming out of where the Defenders left off, there's also, I think, a lady, like a purple lady.
Okay.
Because Purple Man was David Tennant's character, Kilgrave. And then I think it's his daughter in the comics.
Oh,
so
okay.
that would be another interesting thing to come up.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff you can make up. They could popularize a lesser known character. I mean, I'm sure not a lot of people knew about these characters until they were made into Netflix shows.
Yeah, and I think the whole point is just they need to bring someone secondary in. They've got some options. They could bring some up.
From Villainous, Madame Mask.
Okay.
That could be a fun one.
Yeah, so some options there. You got the Kingpin stuff. You got plenty of stuff to work with. I think you need a secondary villain. You need to figure out if you're going to use these characters nobody cares about. If so, do something interesting with them or get rid of them.
I completely agree. It feels like they tried to do way too much.
Do something with BB too.
Yes.
Do something, please.
We
And
literally
Ayala.
saw
Honestly,
her for 5 seconds.
I feel like the only new character you really need is the secondary villain.
I would agree.
I honestly feel like you after that you've got way too many to deal with.
I would agree.
So,
like, if you introduce anyone else, they have to be in like an ensemble role.
Yeah.
And I think you
or
can
you
use
can
that as a way.
replace some like Fisk ensemble people. I'm okay with that too.
I think you could use like introducing some of these other characters to potentially expand into. Could Jessica Jones get her own like series here? And like could there be an Echo season 2 in New York? That I would like to see.
Ooh.
Please keep her away from Oklahoma. So much
You're
love to her family. It's not where things happen in the MCU. Do you want to keep having her reservation attacked? It's
no.
And I want to see.
I don't
Echo
know why
again.
you said that. I'm just saying I like the show. You didn't like the show. Let's just be clear.
I love Echo. I think that was a weak place to bring her character.
Okay.
I think she belongs in New York fighting crime, where crime is, and working with heroes and being a low-level Avenger.
And he's the same person who likes Moon Knight, and nothing's going on there. So.
Well, Moon Knight has been in talks on again, off again for being even on the Avengers team. So that's why I think him being street level.
How that
it
would
depends
turn
on
out.
what they want to do with him. Because I know whenever Daniel Craig, Daniel Craig, I think he was the director of Shang-Chi, he's a huge fan of Moon Knight in that show.
Yeah.
And it's Oscar Isaac. Who doesn't want him in their movie?
Right. Yeah. Ugh. But now he's only doing Spider-Man and not Avengers. Ugh. Which is why I'm looking forward to Spider-Man way more than Avengers.
Moon Knight and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Anyway.
But let me see if there's anything else.
Got plenty of characters to deal with.
Yeah, I hope we
Go
get
ahead
Fisk
and
Tower.
just
Hope
replace
looks
some
good.
of those. You know, it's okay. We don't need to see most of them again.
I agree.
I won't be mad.
I agree.
Most people won't be mad. If everyone's talking about this episode like they love it because they're talking about the Defenders, that's how you know they don't care whatsoever about your actual team. Because they don't even remember that that's not the team. They're like, Defenders. And you're like, wait, but we didn't do that.
Where?
Yes, you did. Bring that for season 2. It's just like, ugh. You guys, you gotta bring those Defenders. It's like, Wanda, Kevin, get it together. Bring back Wanda. What are you doing? It's embarrassing.
I'm very interested to see the longevity of this show because it didn't. I think on Nielsen we've passed the premiere
I don't know if it'll get
of its
season
first
3.
2 episodes, and season 2 was already greenlit, so that was already going to happen. I'm curious if there's any episodes it'll bump on. Maybe the time when it did the 2 again, and then potentially I think an end season bump is going to be its best shot.
Yeah.
And I still think it's going to be.
I don't know. If
there
it
was-
never makes the list,
But that's
That's not
I
great.
think also really,
we'll see about season 2, though.
But the whole thing I think is interesting because there was such a push, and whenever it was announced that he was going to have another go at having a show, it was such a big deal. And then
no one showed
no
up
one
for
shows
it.
up to it. I think people thought the trailers were weak. I don't think they were particularly exciting. Besides, we're seeing our character again,
I am surprised it wasn't enough for people that he was just coming back, period.
I agree.
I'm a little surprised.
And I think the show overall feels like it was relying really heavily on that, as we don't see Daredevil enough in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, aren't you so glad to be back here? It's like, and another.
But you're not
sorry
back.
to keep jumping around, but the whole point of like these Disney Plus Marvel shows was it was supposed to take characters that are in the ensemble, put them in a place where they're the main character, and kind of grow and expand on their character and their world building. And then here you see them taking a character that already comes from a super expanded, character-heavy drama show completely about them. And then somehow it's, in this version, it's less about them. Mm-hmm. And they more blend into this ensemble of much less interesting characters than they're around in the original show.
I don't know.
It's just so...
And I'm not against the whole storyline of, like, this horrible thing happened to Foggy, and now I'm losing my way as Daredevil. But then they didn't do anything interesting with that. They could have. They almost did something interesting with Hector Ayala, and then they didn't.
Yeah.
So, I'm not against that. But you can't take away Daredevil and then not fill it with anything half interesting.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta have something interesting.
Yeah, I can't...
And have it lead somewhere.
I can't imagine seeing these first couple episodes and expecting high viewership from it, honestly. Because there's not anything, like, super trend-worthy other than, like, the first episode.
First episode, when Foggy dies, that was super trendy. And then Matt taking a bullet for Fisk trended. Or I guess, like, I saw it on social media a lot. And the cinematography from that episode was also talked about a lot. And then now the Defenders, but that's not a credit to y'all.
It's trending, I think, in this, whether people acknowledge it or not, it's trending in exactly the same way, like you were saying, with the Doomsday announcement, where it's like, where's Tom Holland? Where's Scarlet Witch?
Yep.
And
where's Storm?
Yeah, and Storm, another big one.
So
I think it's going to be really interesting. I hope Kevin Feige's writing down a list of names.
I don't know. Seriously, the Wanda thing is, like, making me actually lose a lot of faith in him. Because why are you being an idiot? Wake up. Mm-hmm. Wake up. Why are you wasting... Like, because now it sounds like Elizabeth Olsen's doing other things. And good for her, because they're not doing anything with Scarlet Witch. They better not ask for her now, because she's busy. Sucks.
Yeah.
You had your chance for a long time. Maybe she's kind of over you, and I don't blame her. So, and I would be worried that they're not paying her what she's actually worth.
Sure.
She better know what she's worth, because they better not make that movie and not pay her well. Mm-hmm. Especially after what RDJ's gonna get paid. Ooh,
Lord.
You should not have let that get out, because now every person you're getting for Doomsday is gonna be asking for a lot, and they should.
Yeah.
So, especially the stragglers like Storm, Halle Berry, better be asking for a lot, because she better know that she's wanted. She is wanted. There is high demand.
Yeah, there's definitely a double-edged sword on announcing the cast before everyone's locked in.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Anyways.
So, let me see if I can think of any other questions. So our next show this year for Marvel...
Ironheart.
Is Ironheart, right? Because I know this year we have Ironheart.
There's like a
and
Wakanda
Wonder Man
one.
is later. I think he's the last one. And we've still seen almost nothing from that yet, which is interesting. Ironheart also we've not seen a ton from, but we've seen glimpses. It reminds me of Secret Invasion when we never got anything from that until like a month beforehand. And
I'm a little worried for that show.
I'm also very worried for it.
Because it's already getting that, like, Marvel's treatment a bit.
For sure, but...
So.
I don't know. I remember the trailer looked pretty okay. Mm-hmm. So you got to have a lot of suits, and then you got to make the hood work. Mm-hmm. If the hood doesn't work, then... Oof. And I love Riri Williams. I think she's going to be a gem in that show. And then hopefully... clearly an ensemble is important to have a good ensemble, as we've learned. So
I don't know. But then again, like, people thought Echo was going to be bad, and then I know you didn't like Echo, but a lot of people had some good reception from that. They were like, okay, this is actually really surprising to me. So maybe Ironheart will get that treatment. Hopefully.
Well, but also
We'll
Echo
see.
would not have been received well if it wasn't a binge. If that was a week-to-week show, it would not have gotten. It would never have gotten on Nielsen.
Maybe the same with this show too. Maybe this show needed a little bit of a binge. Maybe Ironheart needs a binge.
Maybe.
And I don't think that's bad. Plenty of shows are good as a binge. So you just gotta know the time and place.
That's the thing with this show. I think maybe their ultimate move needs to look at, for these shows that are not event television like some of the first Marvel shows are, doing a multi-drop. Multiple episode drops.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 1 or 2 a week.
Mm-hmm. I like that they're experimenting with when they need binge models and when they need weekly releases, when they need like 2 or 3 episodes a week. Like, it's interesting. And I feel like it worked for Echo, worked for the Spider-Man show. Didn't really work here, maybe. You know what I mean? Like the Spider-Man had the 2 or 3. That was fun.
Nielsen charts.
Yeah.
But also your adventures with your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man never charted either. But that's an animated show.
Well, I'm more talking about reception, like what people thought about it.
I don't know. Nielsen is also a huge indicator.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Interesting, but
We'll see if it charts later.
Done?
Oh,
No?
I'm good.
Okay, we've talked about a lot of things.
Sorry, man.
So yeah, that is our thoughts on the finale and the whole first season of Daredevil Born Again.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize if this is the
All over the
wildest episode so far. I feel like it has to be. I feel like I'm going to fall asleep in 30 minutes and wake up and not remember we did this. So
Yeah, maybe.
hopefully you guys find some enjoyment from that.
Yeah.
So let us know what you thought of Daredevil Born Again Season 1. What are you hoping for in Season 2? And who do you want to see in Daredevil's vigilante army? Let us know. We shared some of our thoughts.
Let us know if you like his vigilante army, because good for you. I'm so happy for you.
Hey, I like Officer Number 3.
I'm so happy for you.
Good job. But
Yeah.
until next time, I am Luke.
And I'm Alicia.
And thank you guys so much for joining us for Late Night Not So Straight Nerds.
Bye.
Bye, guys.